Well, hey, welcome back to another episode of the Island Church Weekly podcast. Thanks for joining us today. Just a quick reminder, if you've not subscribed or liked this video on YouTube, please do that right now. I am joined as always by Pastor Will. Pastor Will, how you doing?
Just great. Good to be with you, Matt, and good to bring up some good updates to our people today.
Yeah, well, tell us about last weekend. How was this past weekend at Island Church?
Well, another good service. We had good worldview. We're studying actually at the School of Christian Living some worldviews, and actually, if you could almost look at it like this: why do people think so strangely, or why do they think so differently than I do? And so it helps you understand whether you're dealing with young people or older people or whoever it is. They're coming from some worldview, some framework, and so that was a good study. 8:45. I'm going to be dealing with that again this week at 8:45, and then we had our service where we're dealing with decision making, and we're all products of our decisions. And so it was a good time. We had guests there, return guests, and some of our members as well, starting to filter back in for different parts of the country. And so we dealt with decision-making filters. How do you have a framework from which to make decisions? You know, often we think about the things that we don't know and try to make decisions about those, but how do we make good decisions like just daily through our lives? And so we looked at that this past week. And so I thought that was good. Actually, this is crazy. We had a person that was a guest in our service, and she hears this from this podcast. She'll actually know, but she came up to me after the service. It was her first service. And she said, I was here. I actually do counseling, do therapy. And she said, people are constantly wrestling with what you were talking about today. She said, that was so very helpful. I'll see you next week. So that was just affirming. That was a good word.
Very cool. Very cool. Sounds like it was a great Sunday. Always like hearing that people are actually watching the podcast or listening to it. That's always helpful for us. So, okay. So great Sunday last week. What's coming up the next coming weeks? I know we're entering into fall, and I can smell the cinnamon brooms everywhere I go, and they're clearing out all the early postnasal drip of the fall. And so, what's coming up in the fall in the life of the church?
Well, Sandy's actually beginning with the women's group at Tuesdays. They get together at 9:30 for coffee and chat. I think that's what they call that. And then 10 o'clock, actually, the study begins. And that's just going super as well. But they actually begin in some new materials this coming, I believe it's this coming week. If it's not, it's the next couple of weeks. And so it's a good time. If a person's not been, some lady's not been involved with that, maybe it's a good time to step right in because there'll be a new study. And so that she's looking forward to that. And then we look forward to relaunching our men's ministry. We've been trying to get this going, but we're looking at what do we actually want to see happen in the men's ministry, not just a gathering. And so it'll probably be November before we actually relaunch it in full, but it's coming. It is coming, even if it goes back in the same form. I think it's going to have a new form, some new opportunities for more men to be involved in than ever before. And not just maybe in one gathering, but probably multiple gatherings. And so it fits in guys' schedules a little better and give them some options. So that's coming. And then we're going to participate in Oktoberfest. We're going to help sponsor over at what they call downtown. If you're not familiar with the area, just across from our building over there in the shopping center kind of area, we're going to sponsor a face painting and balloon, I guess balloon artist, maybe they call that. I don't know. You make a dog out of a balloon, right? You get it. So we're just doing this for the kids, and we'll connect with some people, and that's for their upcoming Oktoberfest. And then in terms of our facility on the Saturday before Halloween, the 31st, we're actually going to be doing trunk or treat. And so I would encourage you, if you're watching this, either help us with some candy, help us with a car. We'll help you with decorating it. We had some of our people that dress up. We got some people that just go all out. It's not I'm not so good at that. But some people really are good at that, and we want to just be welcoming. This is a ministry that we have. Both of those will be basically community outreach projects for us. One is something that the community sponsored, and the other one is that we're sponsoring. And so there's an opportunity for us to get to know people and actually help them maybe find a church home. And ultimately, what we want to do is help them find Christ, because that's the hope of the world.
100%. Yeah, that's so cool. Such great opportunities to serve the community just by being present, right? Just by being in the community, let them know we're here, let them know the church is a resource for them, and that it's a place that, they can come and feel like, okay, this is a place where I belong and that I'm home here. So how can folks be praying for the church this week? Obviously, pray for events coming up, but any other ways folks can be praying for the church this week?
Yes, we have engaged our architect, and we talk a bit about building buildings and building a multi-purpose facility, but it is not about, let me say it, I've said it 25 times or more, it's not about our comfort. We're talking about building a tool to reach the community, Right now, we do not have space that's adequate for children. And if we're going to reach the next generation and reach their parents, the parents are going to want a place for their kids to be able to come. And so currently we don't have that. We're grateful for what we have and we want to use what we have. But there's such an opportunity. As you know, many people out there have just given up on church altogether. And if it's connected closely to the church, they're not going to be coming. But however, they may come get a cup of coffee. They may come do a workout. They may bring their kids to an after school thing. They may bring them to a cheerleading camp. Who knows? We could do tons of things. We're talking about building a ministry tool. And so we'll begin with our architect. He's been secured. We've made the deposit. We're moving forward with that. And so you can just pray about that. We probably begin. He'll be picking up some plans this week and digitizing and starting to make some progress on that. And then as you actually know, Matt, we probably maybe some met him just recently, but we're in discussions with bringing in a person and his wife to help us with ministry. Just as a remarkable background. I mean, in his secular experience, his resume is stellar. It's outstanding. And his ministry background is equally stellar. And it's just a unique opportunity that God's provided. And so we look forward to having more discussions with him about what that could look like. Bring him in on some type of part-time role. And so they can be praying about that with us and for them. We want to just hear from God and do the right kind of thing. And then we still have guests. If you're out there and you'd like to say, how can I serve the church? I would ask you to pray about just helping be part of our connections team, whether it's on a Sunday morning connection or writing a note or making a call early in the week to some recent guests. But as we have more and more guests, we're going to need to do more and more follow-up. And so it's kind of like having guests in your homes. You make preparations for them, right? And the same thing in a church. And we'll create a great experience for them. And also they'll just love us. I mean, our people are very lovely and welcoming, but we want to help people find Jesus. That's what it's about. So they can pray about that. Absolutely. Pray about the architect, pray about this couple, pray about the new people that are coming and get them connected to small groups, connected to church, and ultimately getting connected to Christ.
Yeah, absolutely. 3 great, very clear ways to pray for our church this week. So if you're out there, if you're watching, please pray with us along those lines this week. And we'll just trust that God's going to keep going ahead of us in all things. Pastor Will, thank you so much for joining us this week. Any last words for anyone out there before we sign off for today?
Just see this coming Sunday and bring someone with you. Invite someone. Most people will tell you that they came to a church because somebody made an invitation. So go out of your way, neighbor, friend, a stranger, person you bank with, or a gas station, whatever it might be, grocery store. Just invite somebody, and people need the Lord, and we want to make that opportunity available to them.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Pastor Will. So appreciate your time today, and thank you for watching. And we'll see you on Sunday.